No, so the real thing that aliens aren't going to understand is meme culture. Like, who the fuck is Ugandan Knuckles, and why the hell do they care about knowing the way?
Because
and who is
the aliens do not know the way.
Exactly. They don't know the way.
I still don't get this meme. I read a Know Your Meme page, but it's just stupid.
I think it's
I know Dewey. I know Dewey to the podcast.
Oh my god.
It's a meta meme because here's the thing: it's dudes memeing in VR, which is in and of itself a meme, at people harassing them, which is a whole other meme, with like shitty fucking Sonic graphics. Again, another meme, using statements from it. Like, it is just so down the chain of things you have to know about to be like, where the fuck did this come from? Oh yeah, this all makes total sense.
It's like it's trying to cannibalize itself or something.
Right?
Memes.
We've gotten to this point.
Okay, dude. There's like.
What is happening?
I had to mute, like you guys like echoing and crazy. All right. So anyway.
Well, why'd you mute Lex?
All right, I'm gonna unmute him, but all right, because we went live.
Well, yeah, we were talking about aliens. Remember?
Yeah.
Oh no, wait. I'm sorry. I'm listening back to the YouTube page, and I was listening to everything twice. Anyway, we're live,
you
so
maniac.
Rat, huge confusion.
Trying to have this really awesome opening where we don't have to do the whole intro uncomfortable thing where we're not sure what we're talking about.
And we're just going to talk about motherfucking aliens and motherfucking Sonic memes.
Reading books and stuff.
Well, anyway, so this week...
Read a book, motherfucker!
So this week a lot of stuff happened. Some stuff allegedly happened, and some stuff never happened at all. Like the Hawaii ballistic missile emergency alert that was...
That was hilarious, after the fact.
So I have special snowflake friends who live in Hawaii who are like super liberal, and holy fuck, they lost their effing shit on Facebook. Like after it was like, all clear, like sorry about the mistake. They were like, oh my god, I can't believe Trump and all of this. Like everyone's so scared. And I'm like, it's your government, motherfuckers.
Oh my god.
I mean, I didn't say that because this is one of those few times where I'm like, yeah, they kind of made a point. That would scare the shit out of me. And I'd be crying like a little baby. I'm not going to lie. So
I think everybody would face with the possibility of nuclear annihilation.
God,
unless you're like the most hardcore of Fallout LARPers.
Nah, honestly, I would just think, wait, we have a missile defense system.
I just walk out back and get in my Fallout shelter.
Crow's got a point. I mean, we have missile defense systems.
I mean, you hope.
Yeah, and depending on where you're at, I mean...
Well, I'm in New York City, so...
you're fucking dead, dude. You're like...
Dude, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty fucking sure that... I'm pretty sure that if there's anything that the military would focus on protecting, it would be major cities. So
by the way, I love
Chicago,
the hardcore ANCAP is the one guy like, nah, dude, the government's got my back. It's cool.
No.
The rest of us are like, I don't trust that shit.
All I'm saying is that if we have a missile defense system, I'm pretty sure that major cities would be monitored.
That's the, I don't think we have like an Iron Shield umbrella system over the nation or any part of it. We have like,
and besides,
we have ocean-based crafts that can intercept our stuff. They can intercept missiles.
I never actually believed for a fucking second that there was actually a missile headed towards Hawaii. Because I know that everyone knows that America would go to war if whatever country did that, first of all, and no one's that suicidal. And secondly, if you take a look at international trade, who would want to nuke New York City? That makes no sense.
I assume there's a couple of New York City residents who really fucking hate that city.
There has also got to be a lot of dudes in Texas who would totally be all about nuking New York City.
Yeah.
Just saying, like,
no.
If there are people in Texas, I'm pretty sure we can find other places.
Oh yeah.
Well, also like
hell, you can find people in California that would nuke California. I'm one of those fucking people. You're telling me you can't find someone in New York who doesn't want to nuke Manhattan?
The thing, Hawaii is the closest state to North Korea, correct?
Well, let's.
Yes.
Yeah.
So of course they would have an eye on that.
Actually, Alaska might be closer just because of like latitudes and stuff.
Yeah, but what are you gonna nuke in Alaska? Like,
when you're North Korea,
if the Fallout universe has taught me anything, the Chinese are going to invade Anchorage.
I hunted moose with nukes.
North Korea just doesn't exist, okay?
Hey, Terry, you forgot the part where Liberty Prime bamped in and was like, fuck that shit, you commie bitch.
No, he wasn't in Alaska ever because he wasn't ready then.
Oh, that's right.
Says, who would want to nuke the United States? Let's see which nations have nukes.
China.
Yeah.
Iran and North Korea.
Okay, let's take China. China's economically dependent on the United States. I don't think they would be insane enough to try to nuke us. All right.
Not only that, but even if they did, and they like any kind of military incursion from China, they're fucked because their gear is so fucking just like okay. On average, like an infantryman for the United States military, like about 15 grand worth of shit put into them. It's a tenth of that for a PLA troop, and most of that's the gun, and the gun, from what I understand, isn't all that good. It's like
so. Here's the tinfoil hat theory of why China would want to have a military confrontation with the United States. If their economy is at the point where they are going to have a downfall anyways, the best case scenario for them coming out of that as an economic superpower is to diminish the United States to the point that we did to Europe after World War II. That is the tinfoil hat argument for why China wants a conflict with us.
But their economy is actually improving, and people are coming out of poverty because of trade with the rest of the world.
Are they really?
That's a really questionable thing, depending on the numbers you believe, and if you have a lot of faith in Chinese accounting systems.
Yeah, which you shouldn't.
No, I don't have faith in the Chinese accounting systems. I just have faith in all the private organizations that track human development around the world.
Yeah, I'm saying they all get all of their figures, all of their data, everything they're seeing is from a skewed outlook. It is not difficult to basically suck out the resources from the poor and make the rich look a lot better and make the middle class look like it's growing exponentially. When all you're doing is subsidizing the middle class.
What are you talking about? You have mobs forming outside these so-called sweatshops trying to get in to make more money.
I agree. It's definitely an improvement for the people who are getting sweatshop jobs. And I'm not arguing any of that. I'm just saying, like, the macroeconomics of China is not nearly as stable as China would definitely want you to think. It's probably not nearly as bad as, like, the people that hate China would like you to believe either. But it's somewhere in the middle, and I have no idea where it is because everybody involved in it lies.
Here's the thing. I don't really trust the government to keep me safe from an invasion from China. I trust the oceans to do that. I mean, for fuck's sake. No, really.
China's shitty ass equipment because they're not fucking doing anything over here.
That's part of it. The part of it is that they don't have enough equipment to send enough soldiers across the ocean to invade the United States. Not to mention that we have our country's 4 million square miles, something like that. I think it's 3.8 million. The 3.8 million square miles of land. Try sending enough troops across a fucking ocean to invade 3.8 million square miles of land.
The thing is, though, they can't even enter into, like, they can't even cross California if they wanted to because California is like a gun-free zone, right? Like, they're not allowed.
This is the really bad part. If China were to invade, does anyone think that California wouldn't be like, yeah, no, we'll take you guys. It's better.
Dude, I want to, honestly, in the
here's the thing. Cali did it before. They're like, oh, Mexico, no, you're not real good. We're going to go with America. Peace. That's literally how California was founded.
I would love to see China like show up and be like, "Here's like a whole army behind me." Be like, "Yeah."
As a California resident, I can guarantee you, in a fight between like any kind of PLA incursion on the West Coast, California could so easily spank China. It's not even funny. And we're the shittiest state there is for gun laws.
I mean, until they get to the Inland Empire, they're not facing any real challenge. Outside of the definite military bases in San Diego, which if they nuke those right off the bat, those aren't really a factor. So we're taking out the Marine base, we're taking out the sub base.
No, forget the military, dude. If you take Wisconsin, just hunters, forget gun owners. Just hunters alone in Wisconsin.
Because hunters are not gun owners?
What they're all bow hunters.
No, listen, what I'm saying is, if you actually bothered to listen, I said, forget about gun owners for a second. Just hunters. Okay, not all gun owners in Wisconsin. Just hunters alone would be the fifth largest army on the planet. And that's just Wisconsin. Man. So just imagine California. Even with their tough gun laws, you have to remember, they have what?
Oh, dude, there's so many.
I'm sorry, 40 million people in California. So even if only a tenth of them own guns, I mean, come on, that's 4 million people right off the bat.
Oh yeah. Believe me, I know a lot of gun owners up here, like in the North State, and dear God, they would be coordinated as shit.
Yeah, so China tried
Like,
to.
and they're not even like, and I'm not talking like crazy hardcore survivalists. No, I'm talking on the level people who are pretty conservative. They love guns. They go hunting every year or two, and they're like, they got their shit down. They know what the fuck is going on. Can you imagine China just like airdropping random people in the middle of like, I don't know, just some fucking cornfield in Nebraska and thinking, oh yeah, we got this. Then all of a sudden, every doomsday prepper and their mom is just like, I'm coming for you, commie pinkos.
Yeah, but California would probably be like a sanctuary state for Chinese army, and then they wouldn't tell you guys that they're there.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Probably.
You guys think it's all gonna be like fucking prepper fantasy land, and I'm like, no. Fucking soy boys are gonna be like, yeah, no, fuck America, we are with you,
You know,
comrade. Let us rise up together.
I believe it. It happened during Vietnam. Weren't there fucking people saying, "Hey, I hope you get, your guys get killed by the Vietnamese or some shit"?
Well, dude, I'm pretty fucking sure that if China were to send a bunch of boats filled with soldiers, someone would see it. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I agree. Somebody would see it, but they're not going to give you like detailed info on it. Be like, oh, there's a trade mission from China came in with a bunch of boats.
Dude,
They brought a bunch of food to feed the homeless.
Dude,
No, it totally wasn't an army.
Dude, Google has access to satellite imagery. I'm pretty sure they can see the boats coming.
Google's going to be one of the people helping China.
I'm pretty sure China's got their own mess of spy satellites, I would think.
Take a look at all.
I bet they're all shitty.
Take a look at all the companies that have satellites.
No,
We don't need a government to monitor a giant fleet of boats with Chinese troops coming to the United States. Okay.
Yeah, but here's like satellite photos are not like that detailed. They're going to be like, oh, it's a bunch of ships. There's a lot of
I
people.
would love to
hey,
have
we're-
access to like the Google's live view, like Earth cameras.
Well, Google does have those new satellites that actually they can zoom in far enough that you can clearly see people's faces. Now, that's not their entire fleet. Do you call satellites a fleet? I don't know. But that's not their entire inventory of satellites. But that technology is, on its way. So
I mean, it can make out your face if you look up. So
Yeah, I
everyone
would
don't
love-
look up.
I would love to have like
Never
USPS
look
like
up again.
tracking.
Don't
Like,
look
that they can,
down,
like
don't
look
look
at the
up.
truck going by like from the satellite instead of like updates. Could you imagine tracking your package from satellite?
That would be expensive.
It would also end very badly if you had anything of value in your package being tracked.
it wouldn't
All
be
of a
better.
sudden, the most dangerous job in the country is being a
I mean-
UPS driver.
It kind of already is that way because I think UPS already has, like, in any company with a large fleet of vehicles, they already have GPS trackers in all the trucks.
Yeah,
They
but
just
you're
have to
not.
associate packages with that.
It's the security of like they can track their vehicles, so at least you have to bypass the corporate security first. If it is literally a feature you can use as an individual, where you're like tracking a package coming to your house, like yeah, you're that'll the Amazon like unlock your front door because they see the delivery dude on a camera and they put it. It's those kind of retarded ideas where you're like, no, this is gonna end so badly.
Yeah.
Well, did
people
you
would-
see? It actually did. It was like the first week.
Oh no, I missed the
Wasn't-
story where it went,
No,
went
actually-
badly.
It wasn't the door unlocking one, but it was one of the, Amazon just like hires random people that can deliver. Like you can just sign up to deliver packages.
Yeah.
So it was one of those people, and I can't remember. It might have been here in Iowa, but it was this lady and her boyfriend, and they came to my house, dropped off a package, and then took a dump in the driveway and left. It's just like, why?
Because meth's a hell of a drug.
I-
That's why.
Meth.
It's probably as good of an explanation as anyone's gonna have.
Right. Like I noticed how you're not arguing that. You're not even questioning. Like, yeah, that's probably true.
Oh god. Just a little bit of blue sky for you people.
Well, anyway, my question: do you guys think that the fake missile launch, like behind the scenes, actually was like a real threat for a second until the person that was like,
No.
I changed my mind.
No, I think it was just some dumbass. I mean, come on. This
It was.
wouldn't
They,
Okay, but
this wouldn't be-
the wrong button. Like, there's gonna be a button warning, like everyone, like oh,
dude, this wouldn't be the
probably
first
not like a
time.
big red button. It's some jackass whose job it is to sit at the computer and wait for warnings to come in, and then he freaking clicked the warn everybody button.
This wouldn't be the first time that government just completely fucked up the warning system. I mean, Remember?
Friend.
No, but seriously though. No, but seriously, don't you remember?
Yeah, I'm not doubting you, man. I believe you.
Yeah, there was this one time when they were playing Lady Gaga. They were trying to remember the War on Terror hysteria, where they're trying to make a national TV warning system, and then on a bunch of TVs, millions of TVs across the country, some Lady Gaga music was playing. So
I'm reminded of a bit from the Avengers when he points at a random technician and said that man was playing Galaga. He thought we wouldn't notice, but we did. That's all I can think about right now, because I'm just like, there's totally some shit like that happening in some missile silo.
I would like to note that on 9/11, after hearing fucking practice sessions for the emergency broadcast system, nobody fucking activated that shit on 9/11. We were literally having a national emergency, and nobody activated that shit anywhere. I'm like,
it's like, damn it, Jimmy!
When was texting invented?
Texting?
Yeah.
Technically, it actually predates the cell phone.
yeah,
Okay,
But it was... Because you think text messages are actually like a diagnostic tool for cell towers. That's how they started.
Okay, but like consumer texting, like when was that like invented?
in the 90s.
Yeah, early 90s.
Really? Texting didn't exist when I was born.
Yeah, it did.
No way.
Just nobody did it because it was stupid.
Yeah, no,
Now
you're thinking of
Now everybody
beepers.
does it because it's useful.
My dad had a beeper when I was a kid.
So it's part of the original design of cell phones. It is literally just a diagnostic message
I
they
just
send to a
looked it
tower.
up. I just looked it up. SMS messaging was used for the first time on the 3rd of December, 1992.
Believe that?
There you go.
And just go on Google right now and look it up.
There you go, Mark. You're what, like 38? That's that's not very hard.
Yeah, I would gladly just voluntarily chip into a missile defense system if anything. I don't know. People just don't just do that in
What
California.
on earth were we talking about?
We were
supposed to be
talking
talking about the shithole country thing, but we got off on a weird ass tangent.
Well, we were talking about the Hawaii.
Well, okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, the Hawaii thing. Okay.
Okay, Hawaii is not a shithole country.
Yeah, Hawaii. I guess Hawaiians could just chip in.
That's why we
for a
protect it with missile defense systems.
They could just donate to a missile defense
Hawaii
system.
is not a country.
It's not a country.
I know it's not because it's us.
It's a
I think
state.
I think it technically it was a country. It has some
I think
legitimate claim to be one again at some point. There may have been some fraud in the agreement that made it a state.
That's only if that we no longer consider it a regionally important place to be, which is never so.
It's true. It's
Is
probably
it,
true. I'm just saying, if Cali and Texas fucking like leave, Hawaii has every right to like cut itself off too.
I can't wait until California applies for shithole countryship.
California is a shithole country if it ever applies for that. It's like, oh, we're gonna be like the 6th largest economy. No, you're gonna be a shithole country, California.
Well, you're going to be the 6th largest economy in the world for about a year, and then all the money will be gone.
Fuck that. It'll be like a day, I bet you.
I mean, it'll take us a year to get all the economic activity reports that'll change that designation. But yeah, for that whole year, everyone will say they are the 6th largest economy in the world.
Oh god, did you guys see that thing with that Turning Point USA with Charlie Kirk? I don't know when this thing was, but someone was like giving him examples of socialism working, and the guy was like, he was like truly believing that like he had a good example, but he's like, oh, it worked for 6 months, but they had some trouble, but it's on the way back up, and Charlie Kirk's like, oh, 6 months, nice.
I didn't see that, but that sounds
pretty
awesome.
great.
Yeah, the guy actually had an example. He was trying to like actually be like, here's my example of it working. 6 months, and then it went to shit. And he's like, well, but now they're coming back. I'm like, oh.
No.
Bullshit.
I mean, that's a rational argument. If the thing that stops it from working was a complete externality, like, oh yeah, no, it was working really great, and they had a growing economy, and everyone was happy, and then
North Korea
somebody
attacked.
invaded. Yeah, then
the
somebody
Fire Nation
invaded. I'll be like, okay, you know what? Hey, that's a good example. Maybe we try that system again, and we like don't let somebody steamroll with things. But if it spiraled out of its own control, fucking the economy went to shit. Well,
Which it did, because they
Yeah.
always do.
yeah, that's the thing. Then okay, no, then it did the exact same thing every other socialist shithole in the world's ever done. And guess what? This is why we don't do this plan anymore.
Well, yeah, here's the thing: like the California 6th largest economy thing. That's first of all, it's not per capita, so that's the first thing. And secondly, on top of that, with California, if you adjust for cost of living, they have the highest poverty rate in the country. So,
Yep.
I mean, so here's the thing: the size of an economy is never by GDP. Like that's not how we would rank them, anyways, because we don't particularly care. But the thing about California's economy is it's interdependent on the ability to freely trade with every other state in the country. If you leave the United States, there's going to be a point in time where we say, no, you don't get free trade with us anymore, and you're subject to import-export taxes because you're not a part of the country paying taxes and supporting our military, so eat a dick.
Well, that's what this state says to pretty much the entire country anyway, so maybe that's not a bad idea.
On PolitiFact, they apparently calculated and found
I'm interested. On a more serious note, Lex, I would like your analysis of I forget, I'm not sure if I ever saw a name attached to this idea, but I saw an idea where, because of how California, I mean other states too, but California is being more explicit about it, they're directly flouting federal law. I've heard it asked, like, what if the federal government just went in and started arresting certain state officials?
I think that would be a hideous mistake, depending on what they're doing. Like, if you're actively subverting the presidential administration or Congress, cool, yeah, that's definitely treason. If you're trying to kick military bases out, like, unilaterally, yeah, guess what? You don't really have that right. If you're trying to, like, seize federal land, yeah, that's a reason to arrest a public official. If you're denying constitutional rights, obviously that's cool, too. If you're selling pot, or allowing the sale of pot, hey, we got some real fishy things there, since literally we have lots of states doing this, and probably going to have a majority of them soon with recreational legalization. So we already have a majority that legalize it for technically something that isn't allowed under Schedule 1. So that's the thing. When we have a clear and present situation of the majority of states saying, no, this federal law is kind of useless, or at least malformed.
By the way, I just looked it up, and apparently, if you look at the RAND Institute, they said that the Pentagon reported that a missile defense system for the United States will cost about $19 billion, and that's government doing it. So if you just, I'm sure we could all chip in and just make it
Privatize the missile defense.
Bill Gates could buy 2.
But
easy.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. We could easily privatize that shit.
Bill Gates could do it for us. Thanks, Bill.
I guess I don't know how that would, like, the technical aspects of making it work. Seems like 19 billion is pretty cheap.
Well, I mean, they already have decades of experience to draw from. So,
but none of those really worked super well. This is my thing about missile defense systems, is they're notoriously not amazing, and they're.
I mean, the Iron Dome does work pretty well.
It works,
I mean, for what it is. It intercepts what, like 3/4 of the missiles. It's pretty freaking good.
But it's intercepting freaking homemade shit from Hamas in fucking, and it's doing 3/4 of it. So if you catch 3/4 of the nukes that North Korea launched to the United States, I'm going to be like, that's actually kind of a fail condition. That's not really meeting that standard that you need to.
Well, hey, even if I'm pretty sure that having nukes actually does more to prevent someone from nuking you than having a missile defense system does.
I mean, Israel exists still, so that kind of tracks, right?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I agree with that statement in general, assuming that the other side believes you'll use them. This is where North Korea scares the shit out of me, because I think that their leadership may actually believe that the U.S. is too weak to use their nuclear stockpile.
Yeah, well, North Korea can't get a fucking missile off their coastline.
So I don't
give a shit what they do.
I actually think that North Korea might be folding a little bit under the pressure. Just because they're engaging with South Korea now. Like, they haven't done anything substantial politically wise, but just the very fact that they're engaging now kind of tells me that they're folding a little bit.
I don't think they're folding. I think they're satisfied with the interaction. I think the whole aim of the tit for tat and the going back and forth and missile tests was basically them jumping up and down and being like, "Notice me, senpai! Pay attention!" And it worked, because Trump was willing to engage with anyone on this infantile level of equality. And so they feel like, okay, cool, yeah, we can negotiate now. They respect us as equals, or as much as they think is needed, right? We've given them that level of respect of treating them like every other world leader. Because Trump literally does treat every world leader the same. He tweets shit about all of them.
This is I don't know, just thinking about
Sad.
this is making me remember that moment where Trump was like pushing past people when they were walking together. Remember that?
Yep.
He's like pushed past and they just fixed his thing. It's like America first. Like that was So I don't think he treats them as equals.
But here's the thing: he doesn't treat anyone as equals, but he treats everyone equally.
yeah.
Like he doesn't hold Merkel above Kim Jong-un, right? Like as far as you could look, public interaction wise, it certainly cannot be said that he treats them all that differently, right?
That's true.
So that's the thing.
Right.
He's put them on equal footing with us, and that's the level of respect that I'm talking about. Because here's the thing: they know they don't have diplomatic relations with us. They know that we can't be like, oh yeah, we're best buddies, or like we're working together, and that wouldn't help them anyways. What they can say is the Americans pay attention to us. That's his thing that he has to do to prop himself up leadership-wise. They are threatened by me as your leader. You don't want to disturb that. Don't threaten my power.
Shit.
And that gives him the leverage to be like, yes, we can negotiate a little bit and try to, stall things along a bit more, and maybe we get South Korea without a real fight. That's their aim, right? If they don't have to blow up Seoul and they get to rule it, that would be their ideal. And that's the aim they're kind of going for. They might get it. Because like I said, that threat of them using nuclear weapons is more powerful than them actually using them. So if they have them and we believe they can hit us with them...
Can't get the fucking things to work.
I mean, here's the thing. We had bad launches too, so did the Soviets. Like, eventually we got that shit working.
When have you heard of a good North Korean launch?
Well, actually, their most recent launches have been pretty darn successful. Like, they've been firing them at odd angles specifically so they don't hit anything. But
yeah,
in theory, they could adjust the angle and hit us.
That's
now,
they had a bad one.
They haven't proven that they can tip the missiles they've made with nuclear warheads, but they have proven that their missiles are capable.
I don't buy it.
Aren't people now trying to come out with like miniature nukes?
Oh god, mini nukes.
Aren't they?
We're getting the fucking. Oh no, we're getting.
Well,
the
what they've been
fallout
thinking about
levels.
doing is tactical nukes, where you just have. Yeah, they're just smaller weapons that can be very, very quickly deployed in an area.
That was
That
was the worry in Cuba, was that the USSR would deploy their tactical nukes. Like, they're field tactical, they're artillery based basically, and you can just wipe out an entire group of soldiers. And like, we had the same thing on the Korean border, and we were like, actually, if we use these things, we'd fuck ourselves more than anything, because it's North Korea.
Nuke.
Yeah, nuking the land that you then have to send an army to cross is actually tactically not the wisest move in the universe, believe it or not. It actually has some downsides.
Oh
So it's
god, it
more-
was hilarious. A friend of mine was telling me about how this whole operation where apparently North Korea, they basically straight up murdered 2 U.S. soldiers who were just cutting down a fucking tree in the DMZ.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so it's just biggest fucking response was like all kind. I can't remember the exact lineup of shit they had out there just to defend 2 guys cutting down a tree, but it was hilarious. It's so disproportionate. It was like, yeah,
Why would they be cutting down a tree in the DMZ?
it was messing up their sight line.
You can just like blow up the tree.
Hey, you wanna
Spray a little napalm on it. It'll go.
Dude, get a drone and like a flamethrower and like on a
oh my
chainsaw bayonet.
gosh.
I feel like random explosions in
Dude,
the
no, dude, that's
demilitarized zone might end badly. Just
Yeah.
gonna go out on a limb.
I just had the best idea, of course. Just
Ram.
put a chainsaw bayonet on a drone.
Okay, there, Gears of War.
Yeah, the thing it's called Operation Paul Bunyan, where they basically
Yeah, that's what it's called.
yeah, when they actually went back and just chopped down the tree out of spite. Because why the fuck?
Oh god, that was a wonderful thing to read.
That
Let's
was
send weaponized things into the demilitarized zone. I'm sure nothing will go wrong with that.
Nah, totally a good idea. Oh man.
Um,
I want to move on to the the shithole country thing, because that's
That was hilarious.
well, it is hilarious, but it's also only alleged. He said that he didn't use that word, but
I hope he did.
Everyone's
fucking
running with it.
awesome.
What was his exact response? Did he say he did not use that word, or that
Yeah,
he did not
he
make
said-
that statement?
He said he
he said he used a lot of forceful language, but that's not his word, I think, is what his
he said
response was.
he said he used a lot of tough talk, but he didn't use that word.
So basically, he said, "Yeah, the implication is correct, but I did not actually use that exact word."
Yeah,
That is
they-
basically what he said.
To be
They
fair,
claim
I
that his
also
quote
agree
was,
with
"Why-"
the implication, and I think
Yeah,
most
no,
people
no.
do.
I agree. I just want to establish exactly what was actually said, because if we can triangulate it, be like, "Oh, this is the accusation," and this was his response, you can kind of put two and two together and be like, "Oh, so he did say that it was probably a horrible place, and we shouldn't have,
No. Let me clear this up. Apparently, what the quote allegedly is that he said, "Why are we getting all these people from shithole countries?" He didn't say Haiti.
He said Haiti
They just know.
later.
Yeah, but that's not the quote that they're using. They just said shithole countries. They didn't say Haiti, but everyone knows. But it's funny. I'm sure you've seen the onslaught of memes showing pictures of shithole Haiti, and they're like, "How dare Trump call this a shithole? Like, what would you call this?" Like, it's like, well, yeah. What else does it look like? What word would you use?
Fuckhole, maybe? Is that better?
Let me see if I can find it
Dude,
here.
it looks like the neighborhoods are it's all just like landfill hole piles. That's what it looks like. I mean,
I would use Detroit.
they look
There-
like the
there
they look
you
like
go.
garbage people
That's a
from
great
Walking
fucking
Dead.
word.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, man, those countries are really Detroit.
Man,
Ugh.
Detroit is such a shithole country.
Yeah, those countries are really Democrat. Oh god. Ugh.
You've seen The Walking Dead, right? This last season with the garbage people. They live under heaps of garbage, but they just make it out to be their homes. That's what it looks like. I'm the
Dude,
garbage pile on the
I
right.
haven't watched Walking Dead in fucking 5 or 6 seasons, but I'm glad there's garbage people. That's hilarious. Is that Anita Sarkeesian's name for the people in the show, or is that what they proclaim themselves to be?
That's what everyone refers to them as.
That's fucking awesome.
And so, okay, here it is. It's Roger Kimball. He says, crime and disease-ridden trou de merde, using French.
Oh god, why is everybody getting so upset about that? It's like, yeah, some countries are
because
shitholes.
Dude, the media is all about outrage. When we
Oh, that's
learn,
right.
They're all about outrage.
They gotta generate that hype machine.
For clicks. Yeah,
And clicks, though.
because here's the thing, most people aren't policy wonks. There's a really good book called The Myth of the Rational Voter. I don't know if you've read it, but
I have not, but I'm
yeah,
interested.
it's basically people just don't know shit about policy.
Yeah.
Because most people don't seem to be interested. Most people just seem to want to go about their day and watch football or something, and so basically they don't really vote for candidates based on, oh, is the policy economically rational? People vote based on, oh, does this candidate seem nice? Do they have a nice character? And so the media always goes for character attacks because they have no substance in their arguments.
Right.
So that's what they are trying to do with Trump, because even if you take a look at some of the policies he's done, like reducing the corporate tax rate, I would like to see the corporate taxes be abolished entirely, but it has good consequences because, as we should all know, corporations are not people, so they don't
Right.
pay taxes. And so, as a result, when you reduce the corporate tax, then everyone gets a benefit, because turns out we were the ones paying the corporate tax all along. So now workers are getting a benefit. And
I
yet
don't believe you.
Huh?
I don't believe you.
Okay, why not?
Look at Walmart this week.
Oh, okay, I think he's being facetious.
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Now the bottom line is, yeah. So because corporations aren't people, they don't pay taxes. So it's actually the workers and the customers who are paying the corporate tax. But whatever. The bottom line is the media can't talk about that because that's a good thing that Trump did. And so they have to find outrage somewhere to get people pissed off about Trump. And they know that they can't do it based on policy grounds because people don't care about policy, because people aren't rational. So yeah, that's why they go with the whole shithole countries. I'm crying on TV because I'm Anderson Cooper.
I read a good article about that, actually. It was the difference between glee and outrage, and how it's interesting that actually the media is more gleeful than they are outraged at this.
Because they're like, hey, we have something we could spin now, or something like that.
Pretty
I'm
much.
back.
Hey, welcome back.
So here's the thing. I think I disagree with the statement that voters aren't rational. They are boundedly rational. They are rational in the information that they have. Unfortunately, they don't have a whole ton of information to deal with at any given time, right? So people are going to be really happy about policy come April 15th when they see their tax bill, because the ones that mostly supported Trump are going to have a pretty decent cut, and so is mostly everybody else, except for a very few number of people who aren't. And most of them who aren't even going to have a bad bill this year. It's going to be in a couple of years, right? And of course, we're going to fix that in the interim anyways, like we always do every time we have this conversation about cutting taxes, because nobody's taxes ever really go up. But I kind of agree with you. Like, the media is way more gleeful about all of this than they are like astonished or outraged, because it gives them an excuse to be dirty on TV, and they get to get ratings out of it, and they get to talk shit about Trump. This is like a hat trick of awesomeness for a media pundit, right? They get to say shithole, they get to talk bad about Trump, and they get to act outraged about a topic that doesn't actually have any bad feelings around it.
Yeah, and they can virtue signal. You know, you can have someone like Anderson Cooper who cries on TV like a little bitch.
Yeah, and they think that he's talking about the people from the countries.
I mean, supposedly in the statement he was like, why do we have all these, fuckers from Haiti coming? It's like, well,
no, because he just said shithole country. He didn't say everyone that comes from there is a shithole person. He just said the country is a shithole.
I mean, that was the implication, though, was that why do we have these people coming? Why do we have these bad people coming from this shithole country?
I'm not sure that it was bad people. It was just not useful people necessarily.
Okay, less valuable people, I guess, would be the maybe more accurate way to put it.
Well, sure, because he did say in the quote, we want immigrants like from Norway, and I think he was talking to the Norwegian ambassador or something, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was like that week. So, like, all right, that all makes sense. I guess you understand the statement, and in context, it doesn't. It's just a statement. It's not even the worst thing you've ever heard out of a president, not even recorded, and definitely not accused, right? But we're going to act outraged about it because we get to have fun with it, and because media loves to have fun. It's like the number of have you seen the mega clip of all the media pundits saying shithole and how many times they uttered it, and you're like, you guys just wanted to say this a whole bunch.
And they also like to say that, oh, Trump's racist. He's racist. He's racist.
Yeah.
He's wasted. Because
what was that? That was New York Times, I think it was, that they were like, just say it. Trump is racist. Like, they're just. They don't even have. Oh my gosh, I can't even.
The New York Times has been fake news since
they're becoming
1880s,
shank. They say something and then they're like, right, like just say it. Like, of course, like
Yeah.
they just want to say it. They can't even argue it. They're just like they're becoming all Chank Uyghurs over there. It's
leftists know damn well that they have to play the race card, because it's like Thomas Sowell always said: if Democrats lost even a quarter of their black bloc, they would be fucked.
It's just annoying that they try to establish that as their like foundation to start from when trying to convince you, like, well, you got to start off with this. Trump is a racist, right? And they start off with that. Like, no, that's not a given.
I disagree with your premise.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I look at your findings and I say, no, sir, you are wrong.
I mean, here's the thing. Trump might be a racist by their definition, but I don't like
their
their definition either.
is-
Yeah. So I'm a racist by their definition too. Like, so is everyone that I've pretty much ever grown up with, because most of the people I knew growing up were white, and they think all white people are racist. So yeah, according to their definition of racist, yeah, I guess Trump kind of is, because he's a white dude with money.
Exactly.
That's all it takes. So yeah, for them, they're not saying anything like obscene or like that needs to be questioned. It's a matter of fact. He's a successful white guy. Of course he's racist.
Yeah.
That's the fact, though.
Duh.
He may not even know he's racist, right? It's
They're
just
looking at him like that poor successful white man. He just
Did
doesn't
you guys
know.
see? Did you see the article? In fact, I have it cut out right here. Look at that.
Oh
See if you can-
God.
But the so the idea is, and this came out of the University of Northern Iowa, a couple of professors. They've decided that civility is a white construct, and black people are incapable of being civil. So if white people are civil and expect civility in return, they are being racist.
Okay.
why should we even
Okay.
try anymore? Why do we have to
Okay.
even pretend to be nice to
I
people
want-
anymore?
I want someone to give me a reason not to. Give me a reason not to.
Because then the gun would get dirty.
Demonetized.
It's also unnamed. We're fine. I was kidding, internet.
Okay, good. I was worried for a second. Wait, what the? Dude, that's not proper protocol.
And suddenly we're trending.
I have a smaller 1911.
Oh, hey, nice.
Dude,
I'm not gonna make that our thumbnail for sure.
I was fucking triggered.
Can you read it? Can you read it?
Yeah, dude, that's a fucking. Oh, okay, you had the 9. That's awesome. I thought you had a 380 for some reason.
It's the 938, which is based on the 238, the 380 one. It's just a slightly bigger one.
Those are
So it
both
looks
like, aren't those both like based off the 1911 in some way? I thought I read.
They
something.
are, yeah, they are.
That's bitchin'. The American gun.
Did you guys see people trying to push Oprah for 2020?
Yeah.
I don't think she's going to run because.
It's a parody of.
Why would
It's like
she?
a Drake and Josh parody.
All right, but yeah, exactly. Why would she? She's like. The thing is, right now, she's basically universally loved and has lots of money and a very nice life. It's like, I don't think that she would just upset that and
No, she's.
The thing is,
become a
Trump
polarizing
did.
figure.
Trump had everything going well, and now he's hated by half the country.
So, but let's say that Trump is polling to the point where he looks like he is going to win re-election after the midterms.
Okay.
Do you think that the left can impose on Oprah to the point of her need to save the world?
I don't think
you are
so,
the only
because-
one. You are the Neo who can stop Trump.
I don't think so, because I think they're going to try. I think they would try their contrived candidates like Kamala Harris or one of them.
not to mention the fact that Oprah, like you said, wouldn't want to fuck her reputation up and screw her TV show. And at the same time,
But she's not. She's not going to have any risk of that. She's going to have complete media support. There's going to be no one attacking her of any note. Anyone who tries to attack her on a personal level is going to be completely dismissed instantly, and she knows that.
Well, that's true, but
Well, they
the
won't.
problem is you're going to right now. She's loved by everybody, and like 2 generations of people have watched her show and loved it, and so, or even if they haven't really watched it, they're just like it's still like a nice comforting thing.
Isn't this the same person who said that?
And you're just gonna like poison that whole idea for people who are don't agree with her politically, pretty much.
I mean, that's the thing. I think she can do basically what Trump did, and not really run on a real agenda. Like have a couple of phrases and have a couple of agenda items that a lot of people can support, and try to ride that to an eventual success. And like there's a way to talk her through that where it's going to be convincing enough that she will think she can win. And that she will be doing an objective good for the world in saving them from another term of Trump. Because here's the thing. If nothing changes right now and the Republicans don't lose majorly in the midterms, there is nothing stopping Trump term 2. Like he's proof on like all of the shit they can come at him with. So they're going to start panicking. And Gillibrand and freaking Harris, like none of these people that have been on the docket so far that have been even looking at running, you look at these people and you're like, no, just no.
Here's the thing, dude.
Your fearless governor, Crow, Andrew Cuomo, he's probably going to win.
Dude, fuck that guy. The rusty fucking.
Oh, man.
See, Oprah, though, could be kind of like just like a non-active figurehead, kind of like the Queen of England. Like, she doesn't do anything, but it's the face of the government.
I honestly wish that our entire government was like that. It's like when conservatives were complaining that Obama's playing golf. Good.
Right.
Yeah. Every minute he's playing golf is a minute he can't fuck something up. Come on.
Yeah, but what I like about the idea of Oprah running is that it undermines the whole argument that Trump isn't a political person. They're like, oh, he has no experience. But if you put someone with even less like real world experience, and that undermines their whole argument.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. And that's the thing. That's why it's a desperation play.
I don't think the left has ever cared about undermining their own arguments.
Yeah, no, they're fine with messing up their fucked up logic.
Oh yeah,
Because
like
they don't value truth, so it's just like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's like when they complain about how there's an obesity crisis and then also there's a hunger crisis. It's just ridiculous. And they make up bullshit like food insecurity. even though if you take a look at the census data, they say that 48 million Americans are food insecure, even though the Census Bureau says that fewer than 1% of American households reported ever having anyone be hungry for the last year. So it's just bullshit. They keep making up bullshit.
Good times.
And that's the thing. At the end of the day, like Oprah running would be a net negative for the Democratic Party.
Mhm.
But if they think that is their only way to stop Trump, I think that there are enough people within that party that will try to make it happen, and Oprah might believe them.
I could see that.
Yeah, like I'm not saying like this is going to be a masterful plan that'll work. Like, because here's the thing: I think Oprah versus Trump ends up actually favoring Trump. Because you were then looking at someone who has 4 years of experience at the job, nothing's going wrong. Like literally, if anyone can beat Trump, cool.
No one...
But Oprah's the least likely to do it.
Here's what I was thinking though, and this would be really annoying, but I think the rule is you can only have 2 consecutive terms as president. Theoretically, Obama could run again.
No.
It's only 2 terms.
2 terms lifetime. Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
It is.
Yes,
100%.
very sure.
Let me look it up.
No, there's nothing to look up.
That's 2 terms lifetime. It started after FDR, didn't it?
Yeah.
No, that started with George Washington.
No.
George Washington only served 2 terms voluntarily.
Yeah, exactly.
We didn't have an amendment to require it until after FDR's 4 terms. Well, almost 4 terms.
FDR
had 3 full terms, and then he died in his 4th.
Really?
Unfortunately, because I really wish he had died in his first.
He was the only president to do more than 2, which is where we got the number.
Huh.
Yeah, you're right.
All previous ones had done or had stopped after 2 because that was the tradition.
Who was it that was president for like 2 months? I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
He died of like pneumonia or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Taylor, I want to say. I should remember this. I did like the elementary school play. He was like my index card that I had to read.
That's funny. It's like, I am Taylor, and I died after 2 months.
Right. Everyone only got a sentence, but mine was the only one that really justified only being a sentence.
You could just be like, I'm Taylor. You don't know me. Walks away.
He's Zachary Taylor. Yeah, he did. Because he did nothing because he was in office. Like him getting elected was even kind of like, why?
Oh God.
Oh, good times. Good times.
Great times. This has been a fucking good one, man.
We talked about aliens.
We talked about motherfucking aliens. North Korea, nuclear war.
Okay, so what if the aliens landed in North Korea and extrapolated that to the rest of the world?
Oh God, that would suck so.
No. Not like what if that's just how they thought the rest of the world was?
I don't think they would, because if they're intelligent enough for like that kind of travel,
but they're not. We're assuming these aliens are like Roger from American Dad.
Oh, then yeah, we're fucked,
dude. But if they landed in North Korea, they would probably be convinced because the whole populace is like, oh, Kim Jong-un is like a deity. He can do all this. Like, he played golf only 1 time in his life and got a hole-in-one on every shot. Like,
it's true.
Then the aliens would be like, really? And then he would be like a comedy that he'd be trying to like prove it and be like, oh no, I'm sick.
Oh my God, I would pay so much to watch this movie.
Like that's a good idea for a show. Like they'll try to get him to do stuff to show like his skill that they hear so much about, but then he'll be like, come up with excuses like, I can't today. I got this to him.
The show gets funnier the longer it airs because the excuses have to get more and more ridiculous.
Oh man. Have the same guy who played Kim Jong-un in the interview do it. And just have
we don't have the interview worked out for Sony.
aliens. Do you think margaritas are gay?
Can I just say that I think that was maybe the only good thing that North Korea's ever done was the Sony leaks. I was literally like, oh wow, yeah, Sony is a shit company. God,
I don't even think that was. I think that was China.
Was it China? I thought it was North Korea.
Well, they turned out it wasn't even. No, I think it was.
It was a Chinese firm allegedly hired by North Korea.
Whatever. Either way, I'm gonna give credit to North Korea because, like, the impetus for that was the interview, at least.
Speaking of the interview, apparently James Franco is in trouble now.
Everybody's in trouble.
Everybody.
They tried to. Someone tried to
Everybody in the
accuse
Trump-
Stan
No,
Lee,
damn it.
If
the
everybody in
95-year-old
trouble, then
man.
nobody.
No, I was gonna say everybody in the club get accused of sexual misconduct, or something like that.
Did you guys see that?
So here's the thing: I buy the Stan Lee thing, and I'm kind of excited that maybe we'll finally get to stop having Stan Lee cameos in every Marvel and movie.
I don't think so. No, Stan Lee is like you see him like on the behind the scenes things, like talking to all the workers, like treating them all really well. Like, he's a nice guy. I don't think so. But
He might
even
be a
so,
nice guy. Nice guys can still be like creepy
Oh, yeah.
old men, dude.
dude, he's been
Like,
married for like
dude,
60
oh.
years.
Yeah, and she's dead now.
Mark, wait, his wife died?
Yeah,
Oh,
it
that's
was
sad.
like recent too, like a couple months ago.
Oh my goodness gracious, that's sad.
Anyway,
yeah.
Mark,
And he's
if
95.
you wanna get an insight into
Can
what
you
it was
even get it
like,
right anymore?
probably not without chemical help, but just gonna recommend this because I read it and it was a fascinating read. It's called who the hell's the author? I'll probably text it to you, but it's called like Marvel: The Untold Story, and it is like weird. Just reading about all the weird shit that went down. Like Stan Lee pissed some people off in his day. I could believe it if it turned
I
out.
want to
he did
know
something
how he
fucked up.
came up with the idea of Stripperella.
Oh my god. Oh.
I mean, somebody said, "Hey, Pam Anderson would like to do a comic." Yep, I only really got one direction for that.
And that's all you need.
Right? Yeah. Like, oh, well, but we can make it work.
Dude, I like how Ryan dipped out and now he's in the comments on the YouTube page.
Because he will never have a functioning mic. He will never have a functioning mic during
I'm
live
gonna come
time.
in. No, you're not. Shut the fuck
It's like, you know what? He's North Korea, or he's Kim Jong Un in this movie.
Right?
Yeah,
There's always a new excuse.
everything.
Oh god.
All right, should we end because this is going off the rails?
I mean, we
Oh,
still have like
going.
8 minutes, so I say let it fucking go.
Let's see.
Nothing holds us to going an hour. If we're like, yeah, we've kind of spent our load. That's all we got to talk about today.
Hey now. The load is not spent. It has not been spent yet. I can feel it. There's something there.
I mean,
I don't know what to say. I'm just kind of fucking going for
Good
it. I really want to go
your
for an
left
hour.
hand, yeah, your left hand was off camera, so okay. I'm just gonna, okay, dude, you do you, but you've already like done the suicide thing on the live stream, so we're already demonetized. So really, if
Wait,
we don't
YouTube has not been
That's
closed.
anyway.
we're gonna have a community strike by the end of the day.
I don't think I'm
Joke
popular enough for YouTube to care.
God.
Probably
Did,
fair.
did anything else happen this week? I mean, other than there's the news about Walmart, which is good.
And, like,
I didn't know this. Apparently, that I saw this video by Freedom Tunes, which is also a YouTube channel you guys should subscribe to. It does a pretty good job. Apparently, Walmart operates at a 3.1% corporate profit.
Yeah,
So every dollar you spend there, they only get 3.1% profit as a company.
Oh.
yeah. That's how revenue and cost
Their
work.
prices are so cheap.
But apparently, most companies are like, it's like the average is like 7.4% or something like that.
Yeah,
well, that's
exactly.
the larger the company, the lower that profit margin usually gets. So the more like oil and gas is usually about that same percentage. Same with insurance. These are incredibly safe industries. So they operate at pretty low margins because they're in competitive markets,
I heard that-
generally speaking.
I heard that back when Russia artificially lowered the price of oil to drive competition out, I heard that they were still operating at 100% profit.
That's like every economic report I've ever looked at, every class I ever took in college in Louisiana, where oil and natural gas are big things. Like we never saw that. Like, yearly reports. That's the thing. It costs a ton of money to go out and look for oil and develop rigs. So yeah, you're year over year, you're definitely taking losses on stuff. Like starting a new rig is incredibly expensive. Offshore drilling especially is a huge risk because if you tap out, like it's just a huge amount of money wasted. Moving the thing is almost as expensive as building the damn thing. So like at the end of the day, yeah, you're taking a huge loan and they usually look for a lot of investment to do that. But I remember like Enron back when like the height of their profiteering things, everyone was like, oh, they're making these exorbitant profits, because everyone was citing the dollar figure. And then you looked at how much they spent on exploration and development. And you're like, oh, they have like a 4% margin this year. Like it's a little bit up. They had a really good year because prices were diving up, and they still weren't that profitable because they had sold everything on futures. So the price was locked. That was where all the speculators were making mad bank. It wasn't fucking the guys actually pumping gas. Which, you kind of need that too. Like there's an argument to be made for speculative markets, allowing for, better elasticity, I guess. I don't know if we're maybe beyond that now. Like that's an argument that works a lot better when literally trades have to be made by brokers on a floor and they're like being telegraphed across the country. Today, like, do you really need that? Like, fuck it. I can go on, like, transfer 1,000 Bitcoins and, like, pay for, a year's supply of gas.
You have 1,000 Bitcoins?
No, I'm saying, like, if you can do these things where the transfer of money, the ordering, the buying, all of these things are so decentralized and you don't need the framework anymore for all of it. Like, you don't need all of these ancillary economic activities to do stuff anymore. So why do we give it protections to ensure that it can happen for market stability? And maybe we're getting to the point where we don't.
All right. Well, I'm gonna bounce. So I hope everyone's has a good night.
All right.
Yeah, you too, dude.
Later.
Okay, I was mostly just fucking around about the whole cap it off at an hour, but if you guys want to kill it now, I can understand.
Did anybody see the end of the Vikings Saints game?
Nope.
No, because I was here.
I don't watch football.
10 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Minnesota throws a Hail Mary pass like 40 yards and runs it in for a touchdown.
God damn it. Fufucking Minnesota.
Oh, so awesome. Yes.
That's what I did when I used to play
might
Madden
host
as a
the
kid.
Super Bowl. You know how cool that would be?
When I used to play Madden as a kid, that's all I would do. I'd do like 3 Hail Marys and then punt it. Actually, I wouldn't punt it. I would do a 4th Hail Mary every time.
Yeah, as I was talking about economics, I just wanted to say one thing. Does anyone have any explanation as to why on earth should we be happy at higher home prices?
I don't even know.
Because
most
my
people
house is
own
now
homes.
worth much more, and I can sell it for more than I bought it for.
Yes.
Yeah, but doesn't that just mean housing bubbles?
No.
Not necessarily, because the value could be legitimately increased.
Well, no, 'cause the only way that the value gets increased on
Is
average
because demand is higher for your home, because
supply gets restricted by government rules.
or supply gets restricted because people can't build in your area.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The cost to build a house continues to go up as labor continues to be more expensive and when materials become more expensive. Like,
Well, that's not true at all. Actually, just take a look at Japan. I mean, if you take a look at Tokyo.
I literally appraise houses and like as a job. Like that is everything I do, and I can tell you exactly what they cost to build because I have to tell lenders what they cost to build. Because if you could build your own house for cheaper than you can buy one on market, the lender expects that you would probably want to do that, even though there's a time loss to it. So that's where we get a little bit of fudge room. But
And not to mention manufactured homes that cost a lot.
which are
less.
shit. Manufactured homes are shit, and people that buy them really should rethink that because they have horrible resale, they have horrible lifespans, and they aren't built to the same code that your actual house is.
My grandparents bought one and put it on their farm as their new house.
Yeah, so it depends where you're doing it. If you're in Minnesota, I would never advise anyone to get a manufactured home because the rules are just they are not the way that you would think they would be for safety. And usually most localities are you really need to go get a secondary inspection to make sure that you reinforce the roof on it, right? And same for water and wind damage in Florida. Same for mold damage in Oregon, because it's a national standard. Manufactured homes are not a panacea, and they have very limited options, and people don't like them for a very good reason, beyond the fact that they have a connotation of poverty to them. But this is the thing: a stick-built home, at the end of the day, or a modular home, which is the equivalent as far as market acceptance goes, these are cheaper options, but they still cost a lot of money because people just spend more money on them. When you can get a house, if you could get a cheaper house, which you can still build a builder-grade house for a lot cheaper than what most people build for today. But nobody does it because you have more money. So you get better furnishings, you get better materials, you have nicer carpets, and all that ends up costing money.
I didn't know that
every day.
remodeling a house costed money.
Yeah, homes cost money, but if you take a look at the economic research, homes should not be this expensive.
A lot of people
I
nowadays
disagree.
are talking about tiny homes.
No, they really shouldn't. Especially
Tiny homes, I think, are just like people are using them as replacements for RVs. If people legitimately live out of those, then kill me now.
No, they're totally
future. I don't want
their
that
designs
future.
are you can do like 400 square foot home, and it's for a single person or like just a couple with no kids, like it's whatever. It's not something you'd want to live in probably for your entire life, but for a few years, why not? Especially if you're like big on the outdoorsy stuff and you're not trying to spend a ton of time in your house. Notice if you ever look at those tiny homes, like TVs aren't usually a big focal point in the home, right?
Yeah.
So, and especially those like the condominium ones where they're like downtown and they're micro condos basically, like those make a lot more sense too, where you're trying to be out of your house more often than not, and hopefully have an income that if you're spending more of it on your social time and your out of house activities, then okay, that factors out. But long-term investment, I don't know if it's a great idea. But here's the thing, Crow, like at the end of the day, it does, like in a standard market in most areas of the country, it costs about what your market value for a house is about what it would cost to build one. Like at the end of the day, you're only marginally above all of that after you factor in land value. That's the big thing, is that land value is actually a huge chunk of what it costs to build a house. So we don't have a housing shortage. We have a land shortage in most cases.
Well, no, we do have a housing shortage. I mean, take a look at places like New York City or San Francisco. There are plenty of places that have actual housing shortages because
no. So you're missing the point. Nationwide, we have a critical housing shortage, like in actuality. But the reason we have that housing shortage is because we have a shortage of affordable land, not because we have some mythical like cost of living adjustment.
Well, no, because if you build high, then that solves the problem.
No, it doesn't, because it costs a lot more money to build high. Building skyscrapers costs money, a lot of money, and it's a huge risk. And people don't actually like it that much. And depending on the area, it's just not feasible. Like you can't build skyscrapers in a lot of markets.
All right. Well, he wants to go, so we'll talk about this another time.
All right, that's our hour. So coming up in half an hour, if you're watching this live, which most people watch this afterwards, but watch today's episode of Beauty and the Beta with Matt Christiansen and subscribe to Roaming Millennial and us. So have a good week. See you next time.
Ciao.
Later.